Welcome back to Hot Flashes and Cool Topics. Today, we are so excited to have Florence LaRue on the show. She is an American singer and actress. You probably remember her as one of the original members of the Fifth Dimension. Wow. And I have been singing Up and Away all morning, so it's stuck in my head. But welcome to the show, Florence.
Thank you. Good morning to you.
Good morning. Thank you for taking the time to speak to us. We have so much to talk to you about. Not only are you an amazing singer and woman, but you just wrote a book called Grace in Your Second Act, a guide to aging gracefully. So we're going to talk all about that as well. But my first question to you is, can you tell us a little bit about how the Fifth Dimension came about? Because it's an interesting story about you really not wanting to join initially.
Right. Well, actually, I was the last to join the group. And I'm from a very small town in Pennsylvania called Glenside, which is a suburb of Philadelphia. And my family moved to California. And I always wanted to do two things when I was younger. I wanted to teach and I wanted to be in the movies. Well, we moved to California after I graduated from high school, and I attended college, and I was blessed to receive my degree in education. But I also still wanted to be in the movies. I didn't know how to go about meeting, the producers. So friends of mine introduced me to beauty contests. And once again, I was blessed to win quite a few. I was Miss Coppertone, Miss Valverde, Miss this and Miss that. But the year that I was in the Miss Bronze California contest, I won the talent. And a young gentleman came up to me and said, oh, I'm a photographer for the contest, but I'm in a group and nothing's really happening with the group. So one of the girls left and we need to replace her. I said, oh, no, I'm not a singer. I sang in the contest, by the way. I said, no, I'm not really a singer. I just did that because we had to show some kind of talent. And also, I'm in my last year of college and I'm working full time. I don't have time to go to rehearsals. So, no. Well, he persisted and the rest is history. That's how I joined the group.
That is amazing. It's amazing that you have this voice and you said, oh, that I had to do this, that you just happen to have this voice, because the Fifth Dimension songs to me, so Up and Away was the #1 song the week I was born. So you get those little things, and that was the #1 song.
Yeah.
And they're just timeless songs. Yes. Age of Aquarius. It seems like every generation can identify with those songs. It's just something about it. So here, wow.
I'm very proud of the Fifth Dimension songs are very uplifting and very positive.
Yes, they are.
And I think
that's amazing.
What I also find interesting is that at the time the Fifth Dimensions came out, so you're talking late 60s, the Mamas and the Papas were also out, and they had a similar male to female ratio. Yes. And it was somewhat confusing because you didn't have a definitive R&B sound, and they didn't know really where to place your music. So can you talk a little bit about that? Because I think it's so interesting.
Well, as a matter of fact, our record producer brought a song to us that the Mamas and Papas had done called Go Where You Want to Go. And that was one of the first things that we recorded. But as you said, they didn't know where to place our music, because the good thing about the group was we had 5 different voices, which allowed us to do all types of music. And our recordings didn't really reflect that. Our live shows did. In our live shows, we even did Vessel of Jube from Pagliacci, we did R&B, it was a very well-rounded show, although our recordings were very pop. So someone coined a phrase that I really liked, and it was champagne soul.
Ooh, I love it. Yes, I love that. Yeah, because you mentioned in your book that our critics would say the Fifth Dimension wasn't Black enough, or wasn't, just like Colleen just said. And we'll get more into the book, Colleen. I didn't know if you wanted to ask more about the music.
I have some questions about the music.
Yes.
So you married your manager, Mark Gordon, right? Yes. And
he almost put me out of the group because I couldn't come to rehearsals. I said, well, I told you I couldn't come to rehearsals. I'm in my last year of college doing my student teaching and working full time. Those are 2 jobs right there.
Well, I'm a former teacher, so I know that's student teaching. Yes.
I must tell you that people said, oh, so you had teaching, something to fall back on. And I just get furious. I get on my soapbox because teaching is not something you fall back on. Teaching is one of the most important jobs that we can have. We're molding the minds of the futures. They're underpaid, they're not respected. Listen, with the COVID people found out just how important teachers were when parents had to
Exactly.
start teaching. So I
That's,
respect all
oh,
teachers.
thank you. Thank you so much.
And
Yeah.
What
it's so
grade did you
true.
teach?
I taught mostly kindergarten, but I taught kindergarten first, second. I was
Oh, those are my
elementary at,
favorite. I like
yes.
the young ones because they're so interested in learning. At first they come up to you, Mommy, oh, I mean, Miss LaRue.
Yes, yes. Oh, but I love that. When I saw you had your degree in education, I thought,
Yes.
oh, that's great. So somebody else out there gets it. Yes.
Were you able to kind of use that love of teaching with the music? Were you able to kind of carry that through?
I'm often answered the question, well, you wasted your time getting a credential. No, I didn't, because I learned all the many experiences I had teaching and learning about teaching I use in music and in life.
Right.
Mhm. I mean, you do. And you use music. I'm not a good singer, but you sure use music in that
Oh, yeah.
classroom.
Oh,
Yes.
yeah. It's been
Yeah.
proven that music helps with mathematics and in many subjects.
Yes,
Music is very important, yes.
it is. Mhm.
When I was doing the research on your music background, I was absolutely surprised that Questlove did a documentary recently about the
Oh.
Summer of Soul, which had the 1969 Harlem Cultural Festival, and you were in it. Were you surprised? I mean, now all of a sudden you're trending all over again. Were you surprised by that?
No, I was shocked because I mean, it was hidden for so long, and not, you know, the show wasn't exposed. But I was pleasantly surprised when they finally did show the world, you know, this Black concert. And I was also very pleased to have been a part of it.
And
That
that's
is
amazing
amazing.
because for our listeners, the documentary, Questlove's documentary, just came out this year. So you can check that out. And he even said, being a connoisseur of what he believed all music, he had never even heard of the Harlem Cultural Festival, and that some of the entertainers didn't remember being in it, which is so
Right.
interesting.
Yes.
But all
Mhm.
of a sudden you're on that screen everywhere, Good Morning America. And it just must have been such kind of a pleasant
And to
shock.
look back and see, oh, I was so young back there.
So as your career, you guys still, I mean, you performed for a long time. You're a 6-time Grammy Award winner and you performed for a long time. Is there any chance you might do some new music?
I hope so. I've been a member of the Fifth Dimension for over 50 years, and I'm the only original in the group, but I have 4 awesome singers, and we still perform to sold out crowds. We do all of our original material the way they were recorded. We don't do any update versions. And so, but we're looking forward to perhaps recording again. I hope we do it soon because February 4th, I'll celebrate my 80th birthday.
Oh,
That is
happy
wonderful.
early
Happy
that's
birthday.
amazing.
Yeah, it is amazing.
And you look amazing.
Yes.
I don't like when people say you look great for your age. You look amazing.
No, you just look
regardless of
amazing.
age.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Well,
Yes.
the main thing is God has allowed me to be healthy at this age and to continue performing.
Yes. And I love in your book, which everybody please get her book, Grace in Your Second Act, A Guide to Aging Gracefully.
It's
And
on Amazon, by the way. They can get it there.
oh yes, yeah. And make sure you get that because it's just such a great story and your advice in it, everything in it. But you were talking about just you start at the beginning, and I think something that really struck me was when you were a child, how there wasn't a lot of representation, and then how you are a beautiful person inside and out. Just reading your book, we know that you are inside and out, but how there wasn't representation for young Black children, and how that can really, even though it's not true, representation is important just for self-esteem. So any thoughts on sharing about how that guided your upbringing?
Well, I was blessed to have a mother that told me, this is America. And if you work hard and believe in God, you can do anything you want. So she encouraged me to go after my career and to follow my dreams.
Yeah. So you had I was going to say too, you had such a hardworking mother, in the book that was just such an encouraging woman.
She kept me busy. I was really, I was surrounded by music. I had violin lessons. I took ballet. Actually, classical music was my background. I still enjoy listening to classical music. And I used to go and hear the Philadelphia Orchestra sit way up in the nosebleed seats. Classical music has always been close to my heart. It still is.
Oh, It is so amazing. But, you know, it really does hit you that that is so important, that the media and everything, it's important to show beauty in all aspects.
And
And
I still enjoy all types of music. I like country music. As a matter of fact, I have pictures of me in my cowboy hat. I wanted to be the first Black female country star.
yes, I mean, and I love that in your book, you also include just listening to all kinds of music.
Yes.
You know, try it all out, because
Mhm.
you may not like everything, but you're going to probably find something that you surprisingly like in
Right.
there.
And I hear a lot of adults complaining about the rap music and the young people's music of today, but they don't realize they're actually partly responsible for that, because they took music out of the school. When I was in school, I was in the orchestra, the choir, the choruses, but they took music out of the school. So the young people use what they were familiar with, which was rhythm and poetry. And unfortunately, a lot of their poetry is negative because that's what they were surrounded with. They weren't exposed to the world. So I really believe that that's how that music was born.
Yeah, that's like the first thing to go. The arts
Yes.
are the
Yes,
first thing to go in
unfortunately.
budget crunches. And it's a shame because so many people have gifts in
Yes.
that area.
Yes.
And we're missing out. We're missing out if we don't have that for them. So I
That's so
agree with that.
true. You
Mhm.
also talk in the book, when you talk about your style icons, and that Lena Horne and Sophia Loren were some of your icons, which I think they're everybody's icons. I mean,
Oh, Audrey Hepburn. Oh,
oh, one of
Mhm,
my
mhm.
favorites.
yeah.
Michelle Obama is a more, Helen Mirren, who I have an absolute girl crush on. I think she's amazing. But because I remember in an interview, she couldn't remember her age. She was like, I'm 73, 4. And it just didn't
Oh,
matter to her. And I was like, oh, I want
right.
to be. So what did those style icons, as you were developing your own style, mean for you? How did they influence you?
Well, actually, I like to watch the old movies, and I'll tell you, the clothes of the 40s were just fabulous. The women were very feminine, and they were sensuous without being vulgar. There was just something, even when Audrey Hepburn wore pants, or not Audrey Hepburn, oh, the other Audrey, but they were still feminine, even in
Yes.
pants.
Yes. Before they were
Today,
wearing.
I
Yes.
think the it's like we're trying to look like men almost, and to have
Mhm.
that masculine strength. But pants can be feminine if worn properly.
Yes. Yeah. Yeah. She and Katharine Hepburn, Audrey Hepburn and Katharine
Katharine
Hepburn.
That's
Hepburn,
your,
I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The suits, but she still looked,
Yes.
she still had
And the
her
hats.
heart.
Oh,
The hats.
I
Oh,
hear you're a hat
yeah.
person too.
I loved your chapter on hats because
Oh,
I'm from Kentucky, go to the Kentucky Derby every year.
oh,
And I look so forward to the time to get the Kentucky Derby hat, which Colleen knows my closet. I have them hanging on the wall of my closet. And if I
I had
have
closets. It was the plural of hats.
of hats, and I loved it. That's something I said, oh, I wish hats were just something so typical. And but you're not even talking about the fancy hats. You're also talking about the stylish ways to wear a baseball cap or a
Yeah,
beret. And
yeah.
I love the whole advice because I never considered, okay, how tall you are, how
Mhm.
your face shape, what you're wearing, everything like that. But if it feels good to you.
Right. And I'm not good with hair. That's why I usually, I was going to cut my hair because they said after a certain age you should have short hair. But I'm not good with hair, so it was long. I just pull it back in a ponytail and throw on that baseball cap. And I like berets because they pack easily, and I travel a lot.
That's right. Big hats are not easy to travel with, but I
I
loved
still have
it.
a hat box, believe it or not.
Oh, I have one in my closet too when I have to
I
go
mean,
to
the kind
Derby.
you travel with.
Oh yeah, the big round
The
one.
trim.
Yeah.
Yes, yes, yeah.
In your book, you talk about accessories and jewelry and hats. Why do you think that's so important for women in their second act to use accessories?
I think it's important to know how to use them. I know because sometimes today I have on earrings, and someone said to me, well, you have nothing around your neck. I said, I don't need, something, a necklace, a bracelet, the earrings. Many times I see women in their second act wearing too much makeup. Maybe it's because they're finally got to an age where they have it and they can afford to wear it. But it's not necessary to be like a Christmas tree, you know. You have to adorn yourself so that you look feminine, sensuous, but not overly done.
Yes. Yeah, you said in the book, if you're trying to look like one of the models in the magazine, that they're not going out for every day
Right.
looking like that.
And they're
So
selling what they're wearing.
absolutely. Yeah, absolutely.
That was interesting because in the book you talked about the 3 things not to do: wear too much makeup, try to copy someone else's look, or go by the trends, which classics are so important. What do you
Oh,
consider the classics for every woman?
a little black dress. I'll tell you, a little black dress can take you almost anywhere. If it's simple, a little scoop neck dress, maybe with a 3/4 sleeves, you can dress it up or down. You can wear it to church. You can wear it shopping, depending upon the shoes and the jewelry that you wear with it. That's one of the most important items in your closet, I think.
Mhm.
That's so true. And you also talk about the fact that you should stand in front of the mirror with a white piece of paper to check your skin tone to see if
Mhm.
you're an earthy tone, or I didn't even realize you could do, but that's a very simple
Yeah.
way to check your
Yeah.
color tones.
And another thing, if it's evening and you're going out, be sure to move in your gown. I've had a beautiful gown that we took photos with the Fifth Dimension, and oh, it looked really great. It wasn't strapless, but it had one shoulder, and it looked great in the picture. But what I didn't know was that when I sat up straight, it was a little bit lower than I thought it was. And oh, talk about embarrassing. See, when I wrote the book, many of the things I talk about, I did. I made
Yes.
those
Yeah.
mistakes. I
Yeah.
didn't move in the dress, or I would have known. Be sure to pull it up.
Yes, you did. I did. It wasn't that I went somewhere Saturday evening and I bought the dress, tried it on at the
Yeah.
store, did everything. And I went to sit down at the dinner and they still had the alarm in my dress. It was still there. And I didn't know till I sat down to dinner. And
Oh
I
my
thought, how
goodness.
did I leave the store with this
How
dress?
did it not go off on
It
the?
didn't go off.
Yeah.
And I don't, but it was like, and I even announced it to the whole table. What I was like, something is on me, and there it was. So it's
Well,
very
they knew it
important.
was new. They knew it was.
I said, I promise I didn't steal this dress. I promise.
You weren't trying to wear it, then take it back.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I know.
exactly.
I should. I already tore the tags off. So too bad.
You also talk about attitude as we get older and how important it is to stay healthy mentally and physically. What do you do to stay active and to keep a positive attitude?
I must say, I'm not, they said that God loves spiritual people, not religious nuts. But I'll tell you, God is most important in my life, and that really has kept me grounded. I said, I don't care what religion you are, whether you're Jewish, whether you're Catholic, it doesn't matter. We need a spiritual foundation, and that's what's kept me grounded. That and love. When I say love, I don't necessarily mean romantic love of people, true love of friends. If you really love your friends, you almost feel like when they need a phone call, and you do more than just, oh, I'll pray for you. How about sending a little note, a phone call? It really makes a difference. And that's what's kept me grounded, that attitude. Because let me tell you, I've had bad attitude. So I know what a bad attitude can be like. So I've learned through experiencing these things.
Yeah, you really touch on a great chapter in your book about friends.
Mhm.
And that's so important too in this chapter of our life. We've done a few episodes on trying to make friends
Mm.
when you hit your midlife because it is more difficult. You said you're not meeting them, they're your kids. And
Right.
maybe you're not working the job that you used to work, and it's going to be difficult. And I just really love how you said, you have your friends that you can call, that you can trust.
Yes.
And that is so important. And
Those
can you?
friends you have on the internet, those 2,000 friends, they're not your friends. You try
Yeah.
calling one of them at 2 a.m. and say, I need to talk.
Yes, when something's really in someone that you can trust, that's not going
Yeah.
to air your problems, because
Mhm.
that's just going to create more problems. And I
Right.
thought,
Right.
and then you also talk about times where it may be time to let a friendship go.
That's the hard thing to do. I know I had a friend, and every time, for years, every time I talk about something negative. It's, oh, the people at work and they're doing this, they're doing that. So finally, I had to stop calling her. We're still friendly, You know, you don't drop people because maybe I can be there to show her how to be a friend. But every time you talk to someone and they're negative, you can't say, well, you know, every time I talk to you, it's something negative. Isn't there anything positive? No, you have to find a way to love them into being more positive.
Yeah, that was so important in there. I think you had a list I just felt was so important about if these things are happening
Right.
to you. I thought, wow, because I think, like you said in the book, everybody has come upon that every once in a while. And Colleen always says you have a friend for a reason, a season,
or
a lifetime.
Yes. All right.
Yes.
And it's true. I think as you get older, you realize that even more, that it's okay.
Yes.
That if somebody came into your life to teach you something or to be there in a season of your life, that doesn't mean they're a permanent person in your life, but you don't have to have animosity. You can let go and wish them well.
And a lot of times you learn things about yourself from your friends. Sometimes you're upset with a friend because of something they do and you realize, oh, that's what I do.
Yes. Right. Yeah. Yeah.
It's a reflection of you.
That's true.
Absolutely. It absolutely is. And I thought that was really great. I love that chapter because this is a time in life where it's really difficult to make new friends, especially like you said, another advice that you gave was moving. A lot of people want to move where their family, if they have grandchildren. And I that was very interesting. So can you share a little bit about what you said there about that? Maybe not.
Well, I have a personal experience. I have a granddaughter who lives out of state, and she was saying that she was thinking of moving because I'm not to come to California where I am because she has a better job opportunity. She can make more money, but her whole family and all her friends are there. And I said, think twice before you move because I may be traveling or I may not even be here. You know, it's good to have to be around family. And you may find that you miss them. So think twice before you move. And why are you moving?
Yeah.
That's
money
really
is not the most important thing. You may make less money where you are, but you may be happier.
Yes. Yeah.
And that's interesting because most younger people take the chance, jump, just go
and
see.
Good, you know. I'm not saying you shouldn't take chances, but perhaps you should make when you move. Don't move permanently. Move and test the area where you're living, if possible, and stay there for a couple of months and see if you like the weather. See if you like the atmosphere there.
Yes. Yeah. That's great advice.
You also talk about creating your very own Bill of Rights because stress in your life. Can you talk about that as well?
Well, we all have things that we can't do without. Some people can't do without money. But they find out you can't buy love, you can't buy friendship. Some people can't live without things. You know, as you mentioned, my gold records. One night I was lying on the bed, and I looked at the wall covered with gold records and all kinds of certificates. And you know, they can't talk to me. They can't hold me. They can't, share. I'm very proud of them, but that's not who I am. That is what I've received out of life. So you have to, see what's important to you. Is it things or is it people?
That's really important. It's true. Yeah. Is it your accomplishments or is it who you are? Because
yes.
And I think that becomes clear as we get older. I really do.
It does become, yes, I think it does. It becomes that way more and more. What is important and what you want out of life. And there were just so many things in here. You talk about health and food, and you include some great recipes in the book, but just the importance of sleep, so many important things, but also it's not in a judgmental way, which is so nice to see. Yes.
But Colleen, I need those Pilates lessons.
Anytime.
Yeah. Yeah.
Come to Nashville or we'll fly out there.
No I know. And I love too, where you had, was it hip surgery? And
I've had 2 hips replaced and 1 knee.
Oh my God. But you had your blinged out cane.
I had my
Oh.
blinged-out cane. It's right over there.
And you went on stage anyway. And I just,
Yes, I did.
you weren't going to let that hold you back. And I think that's
No.
such a great message too for everybody. I also like when you were talking about stress in your book, and a quote said, "A shared load is easier to carry." Can you share what that means?
It means that if you have someone that you trust, a true friend that you can share your problems with, it's much easier than staying isolated. And that's what happened to a lot of women, especially our senior ladies during COVID. Our senior single ladies, they were alone, they stayed isolated. And as a matter of fact, I started a line where single senior ladies could call in. We had 2 rules, just as you do: no arguing religion or politics. But if you wanted to share recipes, if you wanted to just talk about your grandchildren, anything you wanted to share, we would do this. And a lot of them found that they weren't alone. The other women were feeling the same way they did. And each evening, it was once a week, and each evening we had a word. But for instance, one evening the word was prayer. And we discussed no religion, but what does prayer mean to you? And I prayed the beautiful song called "The Prayer" by Celine Dion.
Oh, I love yes.
And we always had a song to. And then one evening it was friendship, and I played "That's What Friends Are For." So it was a way of getting these ladies together and letting them know that they're not alone. They don't carry the load alone. That if we share it, it's much easier. And I had to stop for a while because I was working on the book, and I had calls. "Oh, I miss it. I'll help you."
Oh, what a great thing to do though, because that was such a, and it still is, even though we're kind of getting better, but it was such a shock to everyone's system.
Yeah.
And
I wish I had known about
isolation.
my mom. It just turned 80, and she actually highlighted your book. I had her read it first. And I got it back and I'm like, "Mom, why is this book highlighted?" And she's like, "There's important stuff I need to."
Oh.
So she would have loved that call. She would have absolutely loved to talk. And it's true. I think about the consequences of that isolation for a lot of single people. I think mental health is going to become a big issue, unfortunately. I mean, it's already an issue, but a bigger issue.
Yes.
Because of the isolation.
Especially with the ladies, because most women outlive their husbands. So we end up having more senior ladies alone than men. So we have to really reach out.
Yeah, that is very important.
You need to write another book about that.
About that. That's a whole book. That's a whole book right there.
And I remember in our season 1, and I'm forgetting the name of our guest, but we talked to a woman who had mentioned the African proverb of problem shared is a problem halved, which is basically what you're saying, is that if you share it within your community, it's not your only burden on yourself, which is so important to remember at any time, but especially now. So thank you for that. And like I said, I wish I had known the number. I would have given it to my mom, and I would have called.
Yes.
So what's next for you now that the pandemic is opening a little bit? Obviously, we all have to be careful still, but what are your hopes for turning 80 and the next chapter of your life?
Well, believe it or not, the Fifth Dimension is still performing all over the world. And in October, we go back on tour. I will also be probably touring with my book, doing some book signings. And I have a one-woman show called Just As I Am, which is autobiographical. So I will begin once again working on that. Hopefully, the Fifth Dimension will record again. That would be.
You are one busy lady.
You are. And that was another thing in your book about what do you do? Some people retire, some people don't. And you were talking about that. I think that is so important. That's something that a lot of women in our age group, we're coming upon retirement. What do we do next? And
I think it's all right to retire from your job, but don't retire from life.
Yes.
I love that. I love
For
that.
instance, I will probably one day stop performing with the Fifth Dimension, but I can still perform my one-woman show. I can still act in movies. I can still write there's something I can do to stay active and to stay positive.
Yes. And you have some great tips in there on thinking about what you did like and also what you didn't like about your old job and using your interest. I loved it all. Just saying, hey, you could work at this craft store. If you love crafts, you could work at a craft store.
Yes.
And think about what you didn't like, and volunteering work, maybe go attend a few times to see if that's where you would like to volunteer. Yeah. So I think this is just great advice for everybody. Yeah.
Really, and you have 25 or 26 chapters of just really concrete information. One of my favorite things is just at the end of the book when you do quotes on beauty and aging, because I think it just lightens up people. You find the one that resonates with you. I mean, I love the David Bowie quote, which is, aging is an extraordinary process where you become the person you always should have been, which I love. But you have some great ones in there. So we suggest that, guys, obviously Florence is going to be around your area probably singing with the Fifth Dimension, so check that out. Mm-hmm. And Grace in Your Second Act, A Guide to Aging Gracefully, is out now. You can check it out on Amazon. It's a wonderful book by a wonderful lady, and we thank you so much for your time. If you come here in Nashville during your book tour, please let us know. We would love to come.
Oh, there's some great books, Parnassus books. We have a tiny little bookstore in our neighborhood called Bound.
If you are here, we would love to come see.
We will. Yes, we would love to.
I have a good excuse to come. I have a good friend that lives in Nashville, so maybe I can come visit her and then go and have a book signing.
Yes.
Oh,
yes,
that would be fabulous.
We will be there.
Please
Colleen and I will run in line.
Yes. We will we'll be first in line there. So there you go. Thank you so much for coming on. We really appreciate it.
Thank you.
Have a wonderful day.